You're all welcome to our day 6, one question per day, IGCSE Geography. In this day 6, we'll be looking at paper 4, alternative coursework, and we'll focus on the question that have to do with tourism. Now, the first question here is, they said, students in Rome, the capital city of Italy, and MEDC were studying tourism. Now, tourism is an important industry in Italy and earn much foreign income. Now, figure 1.1 insert is a graph which shows the number of international tourists coming to Rome from different countries during 1 month. Now, how did the student obtain this data? Tick your choice in the box. Now, it's most likely that this data cannot be gotten from interviewing residents, using questionnaires with tourists, and did a research on the internet. This type of data, usually tourists coming to Rome during 1 month. You can actually get this data from the internet. So because it's already analyzed, it's more like a secondary data. Why the other methods here, this is primary. So this is secondary data. Now, how many tourists come from Japan? So this is Japan. You just need to move down to your x-axis here and get the value. So it's 25,000 tourists. Now, from which continent? So the keyword you should look at here is continent. From which continent did most tourists come from? I think USA is in North America. So that's your answer. So the next question is this. They said the student decided to investigate why international tourists came to Rome and whether they thought that Rome was a tourist-friendly city. Now, the student described a tourist-friendly city as one that has efficient and cheap public transport, has residents that speak many languages, have a clean environment. So this is their criteria. So this is the student criteria for what is a tourist-friendly city. Okay, now, the student came up with 2 hypotheses which they would like to test in this investigation. Now, hypothesis 1 is that most tourists come to Rome to visit historical buildings. That's their first hypothesis. The hypothesis is that tourists think that Rome is a tourist-friendly city. Okay, so let's move to the next question. So based on the data that will be given to you in the paper 4, that is what you use to determine or come up with conclusion regarding these hypotheses. Now, to investigate their hypothesis, the student produced a questionnaire to ask 100 tourists. Okay, this is shown in figure 1.2. So what I try to do here is to show you the aspect of the questionnaire that is actually useful for us, but in the insert you tend to get the questionnaire complete version. So anytime we need to make reference to it, we'll look at it. Now, the teacher suggested that before using questionnaire, the student should ask, are you a tourist or do you live in Rome? Now, why will this be important? First, this investigation is for tourists. So it is so that it will not waste time. You will not waste time collecting data from people that are not tourists. That is why you need to ask this question. So it helps to save time, and it also makes your data to be more reliable. So the children will ask tourists alone. This will make the result more reliable and it won't waste their time. So that's the essence. Now, the students use a sampling method of asking every 10th person they meet to complete the questionnaire. Now, which type of method is this? Now, there are 3 types of sampling method. You have the random, you have systematic, and you have the stratified. Now, the basic thing there is, in the one that you need to ask the every 10th person or every nth person in terms of number, it has to do with systematic. That's systematic sampling. And the essence is that the advantage is that you do not have to use random generation numbers. It is reliable. It gives you a more reliable result. And so, okay, systematic is easy and quick. Result is more reliable. There is no bias. You don't have to use random generating numbers. You don't have to use a random table, just like in the case of random sampling. So that makes it quick and more reliable. Now, the next question is, they said the student compared their result, that is, their answer to question 1 in the questionnaire. Now, this is the questionnaire sample, this is the insert of it, and this is question 1. Which country do you come from? So, the student compared their answers to question 1 in the questionnaire. Which country do you come from? With the figure shown in figure 1.1. Now, this is table 1.1. Remember, we have a figure here, which is figure 1.1 that has to do with the internet data. Now, so they said with the figure shown in figure 1.1, which they converted to percentage. Now, they converted that figure to percentage, which we have on this table. Now, these are shown in table 1.1 insert. So we have it here, which is the insert. Now, they say compare the two set of data shown in table 1.1, refer to similarities and differences. This is a 3-mark question. So if I were you, to make it easy, I can come up and say similarities. Sorry, my pen, I don't know, it seems it's not charged. Similarities, and I'll now write out the similarities. Then I'll now come up with a separate subheading called differences and write out the differences. It make my work to be more structured and make it easy for the examiner to mark. Now, so looking at similarities, all you need to do in question like this is say what you can see using the data that is in front of you. Now, one major similarities between the two is that most tourists come from where? The USA, because the USA have 21% in the internet data, and it also have 18% in their questionnaire. So most tourists come from the USA. That's a similarity. Another similarities we can easily see here is that of UK. So UK, in terms of the internet data and their questionnaire, have the same percentage of tourists. Now, another difference you can look at, what are the difference we can see? You can find out that uh, the questionnaire have people from more countries than the internet data. The internet data just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 countries, while that of the internet data and questionnaire have 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 countries. So that's actually a difference. Now, you find out that 3 countries have the same percentage in the internet data, which is 10, 10, 10. You can mention the name of the country, UK, Russia, Spain, which you won't get that from the student questionnaire. So that's how the answers should be. Now, highest percentage of tourists from USA in both result, 21% from the internet and 18% from students. Now, same percentage from UK in both result. Now, difference is more countries in student results, 17 in total. Okay, maybe you need to recount it, and 12 in the internet. Now, 5 countries are not on the internet. So these 5 countries, which is what we said earlier. Now, the next question is this. We also have question 2. This is the insert here. And so let's see what the question is all about. Now, they said the answer to question 2 in the questionnaire, which attractions have you come to visit in Rome, are shown in table 1.2 insert. So this is 1.2 insert. Now, use the data to complete the graph in figure 1.3 to show the number of tourists who come to visit the park and gardens and musical and cultural performance. So we have park and gardens, musical and cultural performance. Now, one thing with IGCSE Geography Paper 4 is that the data they want you to plot on the table in the insert is always written in bold. So if you look at it, it's darker. It's always written in bold, so you can easily spot them. Now, the first one here is park. So you just come to your table. Park and gardens is 33. So look at the difference. This is 10. So that means this is 10 smaller boxes. So that means each one is 2. 2 2 2. So when you get to 20, that's why you get to 20 here after 10. So if this is 20, and so this is 10 smaller boxes, so each box will represent 2 4 until you get to 20. So if this is 20, obviously this will be 22, 24, 26, 28. This will be 30, 32. So we have here at the middle to be 33. So you just use your ruler and make sure you trace it. Now, sometimes the width is also given to you here. So you just trace it to where 30, 33 is somewhere here. Now, always try to use the same pattern that is used. Then you plot for the second one, which is 25. You just do the same thing. I have 20, 25 is somewhere here. Please, this is not accurate. I'm just giving you an idea. So that's all. That's all for the 2 marks. Now they say, what conclusion will the student make to hypothesis 1? What conclusion? Now, most tourists come to Rome to visit historical buildings and areas. So look at it. From this data, you can come to conclusion on that. Now, historical buildings and areas and other attractions. So if you look at it, the hypothesis, the first thing you should do in this type of question is a conclusion to the hypothesis should be written first. True, false, or partially true are the major 3 conclusions. So here, this hypothesis should be true. If you look at it, there are more tourists coming to visit because of historical buildings than every other area. Then you try to always use statistics because this is a 2-mark question. So now, look at it. Hypothesis is true. Historical buildings attract more people than other attractions, which is this. Now, total for historical buildings and areas is 36, while sorry, that's not 36, while the total for other attractions is 146. I think I made a mistake here. What you need to do is you add all these values together. So if you add all of them together, you get the total. So you can just write that down. Okay, the D part of this question is becoming a little bit tricky, but it's quite easy. This is just the pattern for question 4. Just read it and try to understand what they are looking out for. Now, they said the student used the result of question 3 in the questionnaire to investigate hypothesis 2. Tourists think that Rome is a tourist-friendly city. Now, their results are shown in table 1.3 insert. Now, this is table 1.3 insert beside you here. So this is what you're going to use to come to conclusion on that hypothesis. Now, the first question is, like I told you, complete a graph. The one that I want you to complete will always be written in bold. So this is what is written in bold here. Now, there are 2 data here. Now, you also have a key. So you use the key. Now, from this key here, they want us to plot numbers replying yes and numbers not replying no. So if you look at this, the number replying no is 68, 67. The number replying yes is 33. And the number replying yes comes first. So this is 10, 20, 30. So, and you have 5 smaller boxes. So each one there is 2. So I have 2, 33 will be somewhere here at the middle. Sorry, use your ruler to be specific. Then once you do that, you now, exactly as the key is given to you, then obviously that's all, because the ones that is left is makes it 100%, because 33 plus 67 100. So the leftover one, but try and see if you could follow the same pattern. So you don't come and put your x down to 100, but if that will not still, they will still fail you for that though. So you just put the x, but there's a pattern there. You can just follow it through. That is it. 2 marks. Now, there is a question here. Sorry, I need to clean this. Oh, shit. Okay. Now, there is another question here. They said, to what extent will the student agree with hypothesis 2? tourists think that Rome is a tourist-friendly city. Now, they give you options here. You completely agree, partially agree, and completely disagree. Now, you should tick and also support your answer with evidence. So, in question like this, whatever you tick, the ticking will give you 1 mark, and your explanation and evidence will give you 3 marks. So, anytime you're answering a paper 4 question, always when you are asked to give a conclusion to hypothesis, I said always give a conclusion to the hypothesis. Don't just go into giving evidence first. The first thing is a conclusion, then you give the evidence, then you should always give data. 1 mark is preserved for hypothesis conclusion, 1 mark is preserved for data. So here, in this type of question now, you look at it. Look at the data that said yes, look at the data of people that are saying no. So is it completely agree? If you look at this, here you have 46, here you have 54, here you have 57, here you have 43, here you have 67, you have 33. So it is not completely agree. Nobody is not completely disagreed based on this whole criteria. So it will be partially. Now, anything that is partially agreed is also partially disagreed. You should know that. So, when you are now giving out the full conclusion or writing your conclusion, you should not be confused or be one-sided. You should now tell us why you agree, why you think is partially agree, why you think is partially disagreed at the same time. So, a typical answer will look like this. You see, the hypothesis is partially true. Now, the tourists agree in 5 topics and disagree in 3 topics. So, I think they agreed in 1, they agreed in 2. This is the second, this is the third. Anyone that is above 50, this is the 4th, this is the 5th. So, they agreed in 5 topics and disagreed in the other 3. That makes the hypothesis to be partially true. Now, you find out that the total yes is 454 and the total no is 364.6. So you calculate this total here, write the value, calculate this total here, write the value. That is a statistics. Now, Tori says Rome has a clean environment. 64 tourists says Rome has a clean environment, while 36 says no. So if you pick clean environment, 64 say yes, 36 say no. Don't leave it there because that statement means it's true. So you should also give another example that says it's false. So I can now say why 33 say yes, that there is low risk of terrorism, while 67 says no. That we give them both sides of the argument why you use that particular conclusion. Now, the next question here, I think this should be the last set of questions. Now, they said to extend their field work, that means they want to carry it further. Some student wanted to find out residents' opinion about tourism in Rome. They decided to interview some residents to find out their opinion about tourism in Rome. Now, they say suggest 3 pieces of advice the teacher would give the student about how to carry out an interview at the homes of residents. Take note, how to carry out an interview. First, they have to be respectful. They have to go in groups. They have to carry their mobile phone in case of emergency. That they have to be polite. You get it? If they don't want to answer your question, respect their opinions. So those are the things you need to know when you are even giving out a questionnaire or doing an interview or collecting primary data from people. So these are sample answer. Introduce yourself, explain the purpose of the interview, be polite and respectful. Keep the interview short, work in pairs, don't go into the house because you're looking at safeguarding here. Check if person want to be interviewed. If they don't want to, you respect their opinion. Go to different houses so that the result will be more reliable. Interview at suitable time. Go at weekends. Don't go during weekdays. You won't see them at home. They've gone to work. Take phone for safety. Go smartly dress or wear your school uniform. Now, the next question here is that suggest 2 questions which the student could include in the interview to find out resident opinion about the benefit of tourism in Rome. 2 questions. they can include about the benefits of tourism. So when they're asking about benefit, they are talking about advantage of tourism. What are the advantages? You look at jobs. You look at, does it help to improve their infrastructure? Does it help to provide jobs? That's it. So a typical answer is this: what are the benefits of tourism? You can ask them. Are many jobs created by tourism? You can ask them. Do you work in tourism? You can ask them. Do tourism spend money in the local shop? You can ask them. Now, do you benefit financially from tourism? Do you benefit from any tourist facility? That have to do with the infrastructure aspect I mentioned earlier. So with that, you're good. Now, describe the problem caused by tourism in cities. So the impact of tourism, the negative impact, the problems. So these are the problems. Tourism can lead to noise pollution, which disturb the local. Tourism can lead to traffic congestion. Tourists don't respect local culture by drinking alcohol and taking drugs, damage historical buildings. Development of tourist sites and hotels will take up land that is meant for the locals, which they use for farming. Tourist industry uses scarce resources like water and electricity. Air pollution and water pollution, waste and litters. Seasonal jobs, the jobs are usually low paid. They can work long hours. It increase price of goods and services. It can lead to inflation, crowded places, crowded shop, crowded street. These are the problems attached to tourism. So thank you. We'll look at day 7. We'll be looking at settlement aspect of this topic.